Hey guys, so in today's video, let's talk about the filter method in JavaScript. So what is the filter method? So the filter method in JavaScript helps us create a new array filled with elements that pass the test given. So this one is used to filter out some of the elements in an array that pass out the filter you add. So it does not imitate the original array, so that means it doesn't change the existing array. And then the next thing we need to talk about is the syntax. So the syntax of the filter method. So we start with the array. So currently we do have an array of student ages. Let me just add autosave. We have an array of student ages, and to filter, the syntax for the filter is filter. So let me show you the syntax. So dot filter, and then the filter takes in a function. So it takes in a function, and we call it a callback function. So it accepts a function, and this function receives some of the values. So we create a function, and this function it's passed in the current value, right? And the index. You can use I. And then this is a function which can write it an anonymous function. This is the syntax of the filter method of the arrays. So each array in JavaScript have access to this filter method. So and then whatever we do here, we need to write a test. All right. So let's do it physically. So in our case study, the first question is about you are supposed to return an array that shows whether a student can drink beer or not. So a student can drink beer if they are above 18 years. We do have student ages. So we need a way to filter out the students that can drink beer. So this is the array we are talking about. It has these ages. So we can say students ages dot filter, and then we have said that this one receives a function like that, and this function receives a number of arguments. We are just going to deal with two, which are the common ones. So the first argument is the current value. So in our case, what is the current value? This filter, we run this function for each element in the array. That means, so this is a function. It will be run for each element in the array. So during the first iteration, this filter will run this callback function on the number 35. And then this function on the first argument, it receives the current value. So this value, we can give it any name. So we could call it age. You can give it any name. You can say current value. But for our case, because we are working with ages, you can just deal with the age, and then occasionally you can get the index of that item in the array. So you don't necessarily have to write this function inline here, but this is the preferred method. And then here, we need to return a true, a boolean, or a false value. So this is what we are going to do. I'm going to say if age is greater than or equals to 18, this is a person who can drink beer, then we can return. No, we don't need to use an if statement. We can just return. So we can return age is greater or equals to 18. So, and then this returns a new array. We can say filtered ages. This one will return a new array. So if we go ahead and console.log the filtered ages, and then we run this code, we can see now we get the ages that are from 18 to and above. So this is what we are looking at. So if the age is greater than or equals to 18, this one return a boolean, which is true, which means that this item passes the test. So another way to write this is, because we can, this is a one line function return, we can return directly instead of writing the return keyword by doing this. So let me show you by doing that. So this is exactly equals to whatever we had here. So let's try another example. So the another example we can check is cannot drink. So cannot drink, we're not going to look at age is greater than or equals to 18. You're going to look at age is less than 18. So if you go back and filter out, we are going to filter out the student ages who can't drink alcohol. So let's go to the next sample. The next sample we have is for the pass marks. So these are the marks and the subjects. So let me copy this. And then I can remove this. So these are the pass marks. So we can say const is a variable in JavaScript. So const subjects, these are the subjects we do have. And then you can see maths 68, English 78, and so on and so forth. And then our question is to make sure that we can return the marks that are 70% and above. So that is the pass mark. So we are going to do the same thing we have done on top. So you're going to call the subjects dot filter. So let's create a new array. We say that the filter returns a new array. So we can say const past subjects is equals to, and then we can start with our subject. Let's start with subjects dot filter. Let me write p subjects so that you can see it. So we're going to filter. Inside the filter, we said inside the filter function, we add a function that will be run for each item in the array. So the function is just the normal function. You can create it here inline or outside. You can also create it like this. Still works. In that this one, you need to manually return. But using this one, using the arrow function, we can return implicitly. So if you want to get the marks that are 70 and above, the current value we get here is the subject. Then you can get the index. We don't care about the index right now, but you can get the index of the specific element. And then when you get one subject, so this subject during the first iteration will hold maths, name maths marks 68, which is an object. We want to get the marks that are 70 plus 70 greater or equals to 70. So we are going to say, let's use S for subjects. We don't need to write the whole word. So we can say S dot marks. We cannot filter by S because S is an object, because this arrow function or the callback function to the filter method is called on each item in the array. So it will be called with this item and the index, this item and the index during the next iterations, like that until the end. So we are going to filter out by the s.max. And then we can say, so long as s.max is greater or equals to 70. And then we have our answer. So if we console.log p subjects, and then so you can see we only have two subjects that are 70 marks and above. So what if you want to get the subjects that are 70 marks and below? So we just switch this below 70. And then if we run this, you can see now we can get the new array with the filtered items. And that's it, guys. That's how you work with the filter method in JavaScript. So make sure you follow and share with your friends and like the video.